got a very special guest here. Not the cat that's in the studio. That could go horribly wrong, couldn't it? Carl, I've got two Carls here.
Hello.
Carl McAdam, who you might have seen on the show, who you can't see now because my microphone's in the way. That's not great. I didn't plan that.
Oh.
Ooh. Hold on.
The cat.
That was me. That was the computer nearly going over. That was a little salutary educational experience there. I'm going to move my mic though, because we need to see you, my friend.
Thank you.
Just spin that round. What do you think then of Salir de Porto?
Amazing.
Not a bad day today, is it?
Beautiful. Beautiful. Very Mediterranean.
We could just about see, I think.
Yeah.
There, but we were in the studio in the trees. And we've got that lovely view that we're looking at over the water there. Isn't it fabulous? Now, you're a fairly frequent visitor to this part of Portugal, but you live in a different part of Portugal. So tell us about that.
Central Portugal, as they call it. So it's quite a wide area, isn't it? I mean, we live in near Fundão, which is north of Castelo Branco.
The Great Fundão.
Castelo Branco.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I saw what you did there. You were watching Filomena on Friday, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah, Castelo Branco.
And I'm here with my son Marley and my little his friend Finn, who's fluent, constantly reminding me of my mispronunciation.
How is that when you're out and about and you've got an 11-year-old translating for you?
He's great. He loves it. I think he's really proud of being able to do it. He knows that even his own parents, really appreciate. Well, him and his sister and his brother, his two sisters and his brother, who are all fluent. Yeah. Looking at the parents aren't. It's a real interesting one. Yeah. Constantly pulling up the parents.
His life in your hands when you're out on the road. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Oh no, it's gorgeous. I feel it's my own son. It's like we're all sort of family here.
We are. We've got a rainbow extended family, haven't we? And in full effect last night. And so thank you for joining us this morning at Quinta. Isn't it lovely what they've got going on here?
Beautiful. So
We've had a beer, a wrap. And the cat's joined us in the studio, a lucky black cat, and something really unlucky nearly happened. The computer nearly went over as we began. And look, we've got some friends joining us as well. We're going to have a nice, easygoing day today here at Quinta. They've got an open day, open all day today and all day tomorrow. We were in touch with Siobhan, one of the owners, leaders, stewards. Steward's probably the right word, isn't it?
Nice.
For an endeavour of this kind.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So Siobhan will probably come and talk to us as well. She talked to us on the phone on Friday. And it's so cool. She's let us establish a studio in the trees here. We're like two Carls, like a couple of teenagers in a tree house with live streaming. What could possibly go wrong? So we've got
loving it.
Facebook user who says hola. Thank you. Well, I always put in the comments, please, hola in the chat. Let us know where you are, how you're doing as well. Paul's doing that. Paul Richards is in the Algarve. Good morning to you, Paul. 27 degrees centigrade in the Algarve, looking for shade. Wow. He loves to taunt us a little bit. It's nice up here, but it's a bit breezy, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit breezy
on the Silver Coast today. We've got the dead cats on the microphone. Don't listen wherever you've gone. That's what these things are called, dead cats.
Really?
Yeah, to keep the wind noise down. Another hola from another Facebook user, and Barb is here as well. Barb, how you doing, Barb Berry? We know with a different name for Facebook. Hola. Anyway, good to see you this morning, Barb. We're gonna just have times today where we're looking out over the bay.
Beautiful.
Mrs. M is here as well, so by popular demand, she might have a chat with me.
Do.
And also, anyone who's passing by and wants to hang out and have a chat up here in the studio in the trees. How you doing, Mrs. M? You have a rider. She's got to have a glass of wine for her appearance. No stint. But me at the moment, the two Carls.
Yeah.
On the live stream. Good morning, Portugal, coming to you live from Salir de Porto and Quinta in Salir de Porto, where they've got a lovely open day today. What you were talking about the Silver Coast, and the weather. How that might be interesting and useful for people to know about how the weather's different where you are in Central.
I mean, do you know what actually started me thinking that this morning was your grass in your front garden? Is that sort of no, seriously? Is that Spanish hard grass on your feet? Is that where we are? We've got what feels more like, I guess, grass from home. Yeah, softer. Flowing.
Okay, not the really heavy duty, hard, wiry grass. So we've got that, and you've got something that looks more like an English lawn.
Yeah, and I think it's possibly because it's much hotter here, so that grass wouldn't probably survive as easy.
No, you're right.
It's like, and well, it's not. But in our area, we get 40 degrees in the summer, so for quite a period of time.
British grass wouldn't stand a chance.
Exactly, no,
British people don't stand a chance in that, do they?
That's it, exactly. And I think it's just the valley we're in, particularly. Also, we're sort of halfway down a sort of a kilometre high valley above sea level. That's the Gardunias, which is from down and Corvilla, which is near Estrella. So it's like, it's sort of it's an unusual spot. I mean, there's a lot of people up in the central Portugal. A lot of us, as we call ourselves, novos locales.
We love that. Because there's a whole debate, hasn't there, for the last few, well, not for the last few years, forever, really.
Yeah.
Expats, immigrants, foreigners, what do you call yourselves?
That's it.
Novos locales is the new locals.
I like it.
How is that going down with the old locals, the locales
They like it. They seem, well, the ones that are pro us are happy with us being there, and they feel like we're contributing and bringing something to the table.
Yeah,
they're good. They like it. It's I tell you what it comes down to. This is a very specific thing about Portugal that people might not realise. The mayoral story, is massive, isn't it? And the power the mayors have.
Oh yeah, tell us more about this. Yeah,
so it's fascinating. So I have this great friend, Leo, who's brought this project to Portugal called The Garden. Leo, if you're listening, you'll be happy to hear you.
I think this is the second mention of Leo.
Yeah,
because you need to tell us about that as well. It's a really amazing thing he's doing.
Mind-blowing. So before I go into what he does, what he's found is he's coming over looking for interaction with local dignitaries, local authorities, and this particular junta, this particular Câmara in Fundão is really positive about a non-Portuguese person arriving, bringing a story to the table about health and healing and people benefiting from what is out there in the world to help people. And he's been traveling around looking for potential pieces of land, large pieces of land, sort of 10 hectares plus, to set up this project, which is about a sort of a natural health healing project. And he's approached these Câmaras, and what he's found is, it's all about the mayor. So the mayor of Fundão is renowned for inviting.
I've heard of his very open and welcoming stance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's got, for example, we've got the Seminario. I think it's an old seminary, old convent.
Yeah.
I guess that's been turned into a sort of immigrant centre.
Oh right.
And our good friend Emma Cohen, who runs Mount of Oaks, which is a little community near our land. Has got a job with the Câmara to be the immigrant sort of
liaison.
Yeah, liaison.
Yeah, wow.
And so when we say immigrant, we includes everybody. So Angolans and and Ukrainians, a lot of them coming in now.
Yeah,
obviously, and then all the Brits and everybody else.
Indians, Pakistanis. Yeah,
right across the board. It's like whoever if you're not Portuguese and you're coming in, they want to support you.
Yeah.
So he's found that guy really positive. He comes to the meetings. He's open to all sorts. For example,
amazing.
We had a punk night one night that he came to.
Seriously,
full on punk. It was hilarious. And then we have
memories.
And then we have the hippie communities. He goes to those. So he's going to all sorts to sort of say, you're welcome. That's how do we fit in together. And
that's that brilliant open-mindedness, isn't it? Of like sometimes when you're meeting with Portuguese people, there's that look of like, okay, yeah, fair enough, and like sort of open-hearted, open-minded. I love
acceptance,
that.
Of difference. That's what I've definitely found myself as well.
Yeah.
And then the other thing to sort of compare the two, to show the other extreme, is he goes up to Corvilla, which is a sort of very close to Fundão. I mean, if you were looking across the valley, the lights would sort of blend into each other, across the bay there, across the valley between the Estrellas and the Gardunias. And the Corvilla, mayor, I mean, I don't know who he is personally, so I'm not trying to berate him or put him down, but our experience of him is that he's not interested in ideas, these modern ideas, these changing ideas, this flow of
a different focus.
Yeah, he's very pro-Portugal, and if you're not coming with the Portuguese existing angle to the story, then you're not going to come in. Basically, is what he's saying.
Yeah,
and he's very close about it. And so, that's the way the world is. We've got to have.
Well, it's good to be upfront about it, isn't it? So you know what you're dealing with.
Exactly, that's it.
And
so you know where to go.
3 places in Portugal that are very open-minded in the way you've described it. Fundão, one of them.
Yeah.
Panela, another one. Panela, more nearer to Coimbra.
Okay.
And Manteiga, which butter.
I love it. Right? Yeah. Where's that?
That I think is nearer to further north, a colder, more rural and rustic atmosphere and rugged, I think, in the more of the northern sort of mountainous region.
Interesting.
But not entirely sure. You'll have to look that up.
Okay.
But we talked to our from Ecolution and Mushmore, who had those 3 as on the grapevine. They're helpful.
Yeah.
Helpful cameras to engage with.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, and that's it. That's what we need. I mean, you go somewhere where you're feeling welcome. I think that's what it comes down to, isn't it? That's why you stay there. People are regularly passing through, end up living there. A lot of my friends locally in the Fundão area who will tell you the story of how they arrived, and it was like traveling through. Could have been during COVID, might have got stuck because of that. End up buying a space and not look back. You know, it's common.
Lovely.
That's
a lot of people's dream, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you seeing more of that now in the area? Are more people thinking, I'm done with 21st century life?
Yeah.
And
well, definitely a new version
that.
of it. A new version of it. Definitely not. I mean, I think it's just the draw of being not crammed into a city. I mean, I'm a lot of friends I know have come over. Most of them have come from city places, so that's the hardest thing, is to accept. Moving into a campo rural situation is that maybe I'm not experienced in it, but I'm willing to give it a go. And then you have this transition period, which I had personally, where one day I said to myself, "Oh yeah, I'm not a Portuguese farmer."
Tell us about that then. How did that occur?
It was actually quite challenging, in the sense that I had this aspiration to develop the land in the way I wanted to put it, get the trees all pruned and get everything looking
for sure
a certain way. And actually, as I see the local farms, Portuguese farms being, though the practice I would have been drawn to. Anyway, the point was I sort of wore myself out. And it was like through the pain of the sort of overexertion of myself, I realised, hang on, it's not actually healthy.
This is useful information, right? We've got a bit of feedback that we're breaking up a bit on the.
That's not good. So maybe the wind
signal. Our sound will probably be good.
Great.
There we go. We're trying on a different, on my own hotspot, because we're in the countryside. We're in a treehouse studio basically.
We are.
I think we got one more bar of signal with this particular setup now. So let's try that.
That's what you call positive feedback, where you got your people watching you telling you
positive, negative feedback. Really.
Exactly,
he's left us. He's disgusted, maybe. But we do have others who are tuned in. Can you let us know if that's any better, please, folks who are tuned in? Because we've got an important bit of information from other Carl here.
Thank you.
About your aspiration and how the rubber hit the road. What was it like?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it is that thing, isn't it? If you come out here with ideals of, of your own sort of ability to achieve something, and your dream to achieve that, what your end dream might be. The reality could be that maybe you overexerted that dream, and you sort of overreached on your actual ability to do something. And then when you accept that, what I found personally is when I accepted that, I was a lot happier. And I don't need to have it this perfect sort of outcome of my land. It's like it's the living of it is more important. This is an old adage, isn't it? It's like the journey is more important than the end result.
Yeah, definitely.
And what you find out about sort of cliche thing to say, but
they're cliches for a reason, aren't they?
Yeah,
because they're well used. And I think that's a really good lesson or revelation to share with people, because people do have the highest of expectations, don't they? And the biggest of dreams, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
But how to manage the reality of that is quite useful, I think. And we do expect a lot from a few people.
Yeah,
that's the way our society seems to have gone, whether it be politicians or ourselves. We have this vision to create the promised land, our own new promised land, and get away from the rat race and start something. The reality of that is not easy or simple, is it?
No. And maybe we should be telling our kids, somewhere on sharing with them that aspect that, you have these things you're looking to do or achieve in your life, or maybe attain.
Yeah.
And it's like, actually, don't forget the way to get there is actually very powerful. Like, a very simple thing would be, I mean, I've never been good at saving money, but, but if you could enjoy the process. To do
with the name Carl?
Maybe, is it? Yeah, we're connected there. That's good. Thank you. I don't feel so alone then. That's good. No, but the sense of, like getting the kids to see the process of restricting yourself from the thing you want, maybe.
Yeah.
And then
delayed gratification.
Yeah. Well, no, but then appreciating it at the end. I'm never really. It's been hard doing that, and I think I found it more with the land. So like the growing on the land, the food I'm growing. When I've dedicated days and days of going out physically watering, because I haven't got my automated system set up yet, and then benefiting from the end with the squash that's grown, the abobora that's come through, that sort of stuff is like really it's a powerful elixir to,
isn't it?
Continuing doing it, you know.
And it's so much human nature, isn't it, to think when you're in a supermarket before you come here in the UK, for example, I can't wait to grow my own food. And then you're in your land on a bad day in Portugal, and you think, if only there was a Tesco nearby. But that's just human nature, isn't it?
Well, the one benefit I can say about that is a lot of our local people who are doing it have been a bit longer, a bit more, let's say, capable with their green fingers. There is a good sharing going on. They've got this really good thing set up. I'll quickly promote this. It's called G1 Castelnovo. G1 is Junus. It's actually American stroke Spanish swapping currency. It's a thing called Junus, and it's in France as well. Actually, there's a whole thing about it. I'll send you a link.
Is it the new sort of iteration of the Let scheme almost?
It's sort of, like that.
Or the Topness pound. Alternative.
Or the Acorn, the Brighton Acorn thing was.
Brighton Acorn, yeah.
So the idea is this currency depreciates with it longer it's kept.
Yeah, what a great idea.
Fantastic. Huh?
That's a really clever idea. So you've got to keep it moving.
Exactly, and people turn up at sort of
it's called currency for a reason.
Exactly, it's a movement. Exactly, and they turn up at a place like this sort of Quinta here, beautiful place, and they'll sit with their stalls, and people will trade, and they'll use the currency only as a point of, if I've got something that you don't want, and you've got something I do want, then I haven't got. How do we trade it? So currency is used at that point. Otherwise, you just swap the thing. Happily, And people grow and make their own food. Swap clothes, offer services.
What sort of scale are we talking about? How many people would be involved in that?
There's 120 on the group at the moment.
That's all
and
right,
an average turnout would be about 50 at the actual market once a month, every first.
Oh, so there's a focal point market.
It has to happen in the marketplace. It's not just a virtual thing. I mean, it can happen. I was talking about food when we started this bit, and I was saying, if I can't get enough food, someone's got to go out for something. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's always courgettes.
It's the courgette market again. Yes, courgette clothing. Courgette.
You can do amazing things with courgette.
Courgette recipe.
It's a new cork.
The new cork. Good luck with that. Courgette. Right, we've got a question. Cavilia. Mr. S is here with us. Hi, Mr. S. Thank you so much for your regular attendance in our live streams and shows. Really appreciate you. Cavilia is a place. And I'm hoping our signal's a bit better now. We've got a few more people as well. Maybe you could let us know. We're contending with wind and also signal. So let us know how that goes. We're pioneering up here this afternoon.
Amazing.
Owen, hi. Good afternoon to you. Thanks, Owen. And to Mark, a homesteader here in Portugal as well. Great to see you, Mark. How are you doing? To the way. Cavilia is a place that I might call home. It looks nice in pictures. I mean, the historic centre. Can you tell us a bit more about Cavilia, your experience, Carl, for Mr. S?
Yeah, interesting town, because on the side of the mountain, the old part of it, as I've experienced, is right up in the top of the hills. Yeah, and it's beautiful. Lots of small alleyways, small, roads going through, cobbled, a nice esplanade with a sort of garden in it.
Moorish influence. What are we talking about there?
Actually, yes. If it was what in energy, I wouldn't want to comment about that. I'm not knowledgeable enough about it to say, but I just say it's obviously originally built high in the hills, as I'm sure originally for a protection point of view, But now
throw courgettes
down the valley,
down the ramparts.
I think is it Zez? No, it's Mondego. I think it's a big river goes through that part of.
From Coimbra, right through to Cavilia.
Out the way around. It comes. Of course, we're in the hills.
Yeah.
But Cavilia is sprawling, and so the what I would say personally, is a more not attracted to sort of city-like part of it. It's as big as it's the next. What's it? Constello, is it? Constello, going up from Castelo Branco. So Fundão and the Fundão Cavilia is a border for the two Castelo Branco and Cavilia.
Yes, yeah.
So when you go into Cavilia, it's a big sprawling city. It's got. I always base it on. Has it got a Brico Marsh and a
well, those are your
Brico Marsh and Max Map
markers.
And they're not in Fundão. They're in Castelo Branco and they're in Cavilia. That's the sort of they're actually saying that Brico Marsh has just moved into Fundão. But the point I'm making anyway, for someone that wants to go there, as I've just said, if our lovely listener was
that's Mr. S.
Mr. S listening earlier on when I was saying about the two different chimeras, you would probably see that I wasn't that much of a fan of Cavilia for the potential growth and how it's receiving people from the outside coming in. But as a sort of visually it's beautiful. Yeah, I can see why you'd like that. Yeah. And it's on the back of the Estrella. You can get onto the mountains very quickly, up to the whole hairpin bend roads. It's a nice place, but I prefer a bit further south.
And should we be saying Covilha or Covilha? I think it's
Covilhã.
Covilhã, isn't it?
Covilhã,
Covilhã. I think there. After we're all really nervous now after that session with Philomena on Friday.
Catching ourselves out.
Bob Wenger's here as well with us. Good afternoon to you, Bob. Great to see you here. Boa tarde, back home in Corelia after a week in the UK. How was the UK? We're both these Carls here are from the UK. Do you miss the old place?
Not at all. sorry. Well, I know that my wife's back there at the moment. And it's been very wet and windy, I've heard, and cold. Yeah. So that's not good, obviously. But I was there for 3 months over Christmas, and I sort of got stuck. I felt, so it's just to get back here, get home here. Call this place home.
This is home now.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
How long? I mean, we talked to you, didn't we? I think when you were making the. I mean, you've had a long-standing interest and connection with Portugal. But the big move happened 2 or 3 years ago, I think. It was the COVID, the pandemic that really moved you on a bit.
Exactly. We were bought land in 2014. And we've been traveling many years before that through Portugal many times. Yeah. And it was one of those amazing moments. People say, because I had two extreme things where I spent almost 10 years looking for land, Spain, England, France. And then when we bought the land, it was like a fluke to find it. And then 6 hours from the point of agreeing with the price with the owner, who was Portuguese, English couple of guys who bought a lot of land in the area. And 6 hours later, we actually owned it and paid for it.
It was extraordinary. That's a record, isn't it?
Has to be. It took us like in the morning, very early in the morning, went to meet the mayor of the small village, Alpadrinha. And then from there to Fundão to meet the Camara, and then to the lawyer. And it wasn't until like a year later that my partner realised that we actually had she actually attained residency in that process. So like you go to the Camara to the junta in Alpadrinha.
Oh, I see. Because you're Brits, you were just able to make that transition at the time.
It just basically got the what's it called. Attestado,
that's right.
And then when took that in, this is all obviously
and the crew papers,
I mean, obviously, it was because now it's much harder, isn't it? You've got the D7 problem now,
Yes.
But then it was like into Camara to get the what's the other paper you have to get? You get the what's the code? NIF.
The NIF.
So you got the Attestado, the NIF, and then you go with that to the Camara, and they give you the residency, 5 residency.
So you managed to do a lot in one short space of time, and come away with land, deeds in your hand. That's fantastic. You could run masterclasses on that at the moment, mate. Wow, that's fantastic. A few more hellos. Covilhã. Thank you, Mr. S. And we have my life in northern Portugal.
Who's this?
Is that an old friend with a new name, or is that somebody we haven't spoken to before? But we can send you the link, and you can join us on the screen. My life in northern Portugal. Loads of planting to do this weekend. Let's hope the sun stays. So how's your weather looking up there in the north? Possibly a little bit chillier, but probably bright and spring-like as it is here for the Salir also, where we like Portugal, says Bob. Let's screen. Portugal definitely home, as you said there, Carl. Here we go. Portugal definitely home, even though the Cotswolds were enthralling. They are beautiful, the Cotswolds, aren't they? Beautiful place. Absolutely. But you need a few million, I think, to live in the Cotswolds comfortably. Yep. Good morning from Minnesota.
Sorry, I was going to say, even then, planning's not going to make it.
Can you imagine? You can't just chuck up an extension in the Cotswolds. It's got to be in that beautiful stone, isn't it? We've got Glacio D. Good morning from Minnesota. Fiona and Simon. Good morning to you. 3 peas in a pod. All sounds looks good. Oh, good to hear it. And it's me, Owen. So, okay. That's his new iteration. You've seen enough of me. What will people think? Brilliant. Carl, great to talk to you. Thanks for joining me in the broadcasting treehouse. All right, boys? The boys are here that you were talking about. You having a nice time wandering about? Guess how many seeds in the jar? Carl, cheers, mate. Safe journey back to central Portugal. So that's Carl. Yeah, that's terrific. And I was going to ask him about community life over that way. And can you come back for a minute? Sorry, because I that was kind of an intermediate thank you rather than a climaxing one. A climaxing act of gratitude. Right, community life.
Yes.
When I think we had conversations about this before. When first interested in Portugal, it came along with perhaps being involved, living in community with other people.
Yes.
Was that? Am I right?
Definitely.
Was that kind of your approach, vibe, aspiration, possibly?
Absolutely.
What's happening? Do you think in that's happened since then and now? because all I was saying this to somebody the other day. 10 years ago, the resource that we had was pure Portugal, wasn't it?
It was.
And we would look at land and houses on there.
Yeah.
And you'd be on Facebook. Does anyone want to start up a community? Vegan, yoga. It'd be all of that, wouldn't there? And there'd be
Rainbow tribe,
vegans only. Oh, I don't think I can do that. No smoking, definitely. There was all these like checklists.
Dogs and no dogs. That's
dogs and no dogs.
Yeah,
vegan, not vegan. Smokers out. Blah blah. All that.
So hard.
And it is, I mean, what a nightmare.
It was.
Have you eaten my tofu? I did write my name on it. All of that sort of stuff. Is that still strong? Do you think in central Portugal? That is happening still. Is it that phenomenon?
I mean, there are definitely people constantly arriving, joining, communities looking for woofers, and then you go in there and you end up connecting or not, and then you sort of, if you want to stay. I think it has to be, from my experience, because I know a couple of very successful communities in Portugal, but they're very rigid. That's what makes them survive. Well,
that's the interesting thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
To have a shared vision gives you more, I think, chance of success, because the rules are there, aren't they?
Definitely.
It's not about me. It's about the rules and the guiding principles of the place.
Exactly.
If it's a free for all, that can end up with quite lengthy house meetings, can't it?
Really
or community meetings. Yeah.
And so that one thing, communities that didn't put conflict resolution at the center of their philosophies always fail.
Had conflict.
Basically,
enough.
It's inevitable.
Yeah,
I think that's it. And maybe the Brits I've met who have dreams about being involved often find themselves not actually having the makeup, a sort of cultural makeup to be able to cope with it anyway.
Wow, that's an interesting point.
Because I think, we, in my community where we are, and I'm calling it a community because we actually call it an unintentional community, because we're about, I can think of 50 families in a sort of, 10-kilometer radius who are on the same groups we've created for different purposes. And we're regularly in each other's pockets, in each other's houses,
but not living in the same under the same roof.
Exactly.
Now, would you say that's a little bit easier to contend with?
It's the only way for us. Yeah, it's worked for us, and it continues to work. And you can, you spend more time with some people for a while, and you don't see them for a bit, and that's also okay. It's not a sort
of
life,
isn't it? Yeah, like having cousins and extended family,
bigger family. That's why it is a form of a family, a new family.
That's a nice iteration. So you're not living in each other's pockets, and you can call on each other. So you've got a good support network, but not an overwhelming sense of community and all that stuff.
Yeah, forced expectation. I think it's the expectation, especially for Brits. It's the expectation of what you've agreed to, and then being stuck with that.
Yeah,
and not having the freedom
what
to...
a nightmare. Escape the rat race and then end up with your dysfunctional family constellation around you. That is what can happen, isn't it? Well, thank you for that. Is the garden such a project? Where does it work? Because you were going to tell us about Leo's project.
Very quickly. Okay, well, from what he's actually been away for a while. He's coming back this month, I think, the next few weeks, hopefully. And his plan, very simply, is and he'll probably hopefully come on.
I'd love to talk to him. I'll look at see if there's anything online at the moment while you're telling us about it.
And basically, it's a large piece of land where people who have been diagnosed with terminal illnesses will be invited for free and will receive healing treatments, what's the word for it? Allopathic, is it?
Not allopathic.
Mainstream medicine.
Holistic. Complementary.
All of the above. That's not from everything from massage right through to homeopathy,
energy medicine.
Internal, external input. With a space to live while you are healing.
Yeah.
And the intention is that we will heal people. That's what and he believes it. And the people that are offering this service are well paid, well renowned in their field, are going to give up their time for free to come and give it to those people.
Amazing.
It's mind-blowing.
No wonder the mayor wants to get involved with that then in Quinta.
And Leo's a great advocate. He's very eloquent, and he's very able to. He's very, if you're doing this sort of project, anything like that needs passion, doesn't it, of the person leading it? Yeah. But it also needs a strong helm. And I've heard, thstories of where some of the investors have got involved and had to, and it's become, a bit of conflict because the investor wants direction control, and that's not available because Leo's, it's his project. Yeah. So that's quite interesting. I found that quite important. You have to be strong enough to hold that,
All right. And that's Leo Jux, is it? Jux? Because I found a GoFundMe.
Oh, brilliant.
If you like the sound of that, then do get in touch with the link I'm going to pop into the chat now. But that's going to be around Funny, is it? That's
what I'm hoping. He's looking a lot of Portugal, and he's got Portuguese people who are strongly involved, we're just trying to keep him in our area because we're selfish.
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? What a lovely resource to offer to people. Okay.
Exactly.
If the technology will allow me,
I'm going to love you and leave you because I actually need to go and have find the little
attend to nature. You can have a wild wee here, I think, in the countryside. Thanks, mate. Sorry I called you back. You were ready to go, weren't you? All right, I'm copying that link now, and I imagine we'll have a few more chats with people here at Quinta, where we're streaming from today. Let me just pop that into the chat there. Interesting project. Leo Jux is if you know when you cut and paste a Facebook link and it gives you all a Facebook code because they want to keep control over it. Let me just try that again. So yeah, any questions about Quinta? Hopefully we'll talk to Siobhan. Mrs. M's here. Siobhan, of course, who's part of Quinta here with Patsy. And we will we'll have Mrs. M, I think, on as well. She's wondering about her rider is that she won't talk to me about a glass of wine. And what a lovely thing to be doing here. We've got a nice chicken wrap. There's beer and wine flowing and sangria. If you're watching this on the San Martino guide or on the group, then please pop over. Open all day tomorrow as well. So there's the GoFundMe. I mean, you don't have to fund them if you don't know anything about them at the moment, but that will give you, I think, a direction in which you can find out more about the project there, the garden. Help create the Garden Healing Centre, and that's for Portugal there. Leo Jux, the man behind it. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the mics down, bring the music back up, and then be back along in a little while. But enjoy the view. See the blue sky here of the Silver Coast, and I'll take me off the screen and put the long view, the big picture, and have a little bit of music in the background there. See you in a while. Something funny things happening. Can you see yourself there, Mrs. M? In the treehouse studio here.
Yeah.
Bob's here. What do you mean? Well, you need to get near to. Don't be a diva.
Hello.
Is that better?
Yeah.
I can actually hear you. You sound a bit breathy. What's happening?
I just climbed a small incline.
Okay. Bob was enjoying, I think, the conversation with Carl, the other Carl.
Bob.
Concept of Bob Wenger.
Oh, hey, Bob.
The concept of healing community sounds excellent. That's not happening here as an intentional community, but this is a resource. Okay, so this is a resource to the local community.
Yes.
Here, and a brilliant one at that. So come along. We are the guests of our Quinta today.
Yes.
And this wonderful spring fling. I see you got a glass of red wine.
Sure
Was that one of the attractions here?
Tell
me about the wine.
It's called. I've already forgotten what it's called.
But there is a guy here selling wine, right, from a local producer.
It's not a local producer; it's a Spanish producer, but it's an organic wine.
Iberian.
It's Iberian.
Iberian business
I'm
going
being
on here
very
today.
Iberian today.
Okay, organic, I think. It's got a lovely colour to it. Can I have a? Well, I'm going to do a quick tasting on the screen here.
Hey.
Berries. Strawberry, I think there.
Yeah, so it's an organic Spanish wine, and so the guy who's kind of selling it today, he's doing it for his friend.
It's going down well.
Yeah.
And other food available as well. We've got chicken wraps, didn't we?
Yes, and
a lovely,
I also got
easygoing vibe.
a hummus vegetable wrap as well.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get any of that. Anyway.
And there's loads of flapjacks to keep the kids happy and stuff. And there's dogs
Sangria.
running around. There's sangria. There's cats.
Lovely big white horse. Oh, lovely black cat. Have you seen the cat? Solomon, don't crawl around in the studio. Nearly the computer has nearly gone over already this morning.
Solly, no.
Come on, what are you doing? Oh, wants to be in on the action. Here
yeah,
he is.
there's just a really chilled vibe. You know, everyone's just having a nice time. There's lots of different languages being spoken here. So I've been hearing Portuguese, French, and English.
Yeah.
And there's people.
Have you
from
been
all over the
conversing
world.
in French? Because your French is pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't yet because I've been running around after the kids.
Yeah, of course.
But there's people from Dubai.
Yeah.
It's a really good melting pot, and that always happens when we come to the Quinta, isn't it?
Yes,
There's always
it's incredible.
A really amazing mix of people.
Who'd have thought in a little sort of distant corner of the Silver Coast, you would find such a diverse collection of people?
Yeah,
that is what's happening here today, isn't it?
Yes, there's all sorts of English accents. We've got Manchester accent I've just detected.
Right. Do you need me to translate? Or
no, it's good because I lived in Bury for a while.
Bury.
There's Americans. It's just really.
It's a lovely day here, isn't it?
It's really
beautiful
nice.
day.
It's beautiful, and I've just been in the hammock, swinging with our little youngest one and giving him some milk, which is nice.
How lovely!
Yeah, I've done it before here.
Fantastic.
And looking at this beautiful view, it's really heavenly to be able
We've
to do
got
that.
Nazare to our our left in the picture, right over the hill there. Is that some kind of hawk or is that a pigeon flying on?
Do you know what? I think there are hawks because I was watching a bird of prey. Hang on, he's about to.
There's an incredible vantage point here where you can look over the Bay of San Martino de Porto.
Yes.
We've got Alcobaça in front of us as well.
Yeah.
And this beautiful floodplain, ancient floodplain, which is beautiful agricultural land. Can you see over to the right of the picture that?
Yeah.
Oh, he needs a wee. He's got to look. Never work with children and
I'll be back in a second.
All right, Mrs. M just going for a wander. Well,
hang on.
Little fella needs a wee. Penella River Lodge are joining us. How lovely. Ola from Penella River Lodge. Love Penella. We've mentioned you already today as being one of the foremost helpful cameras in Portugal, along with Fundão and Manteiga. Penella's a great place, isn't it, in how I think the local authority there is reaching out to migrants coming into the area. So great news and good to have you here. And shout out then for your South African restaurant in Penella. Tell us more. Would you like to join us on the screen? If you do, I'm going to put the link into the chat now. Anybody who wants to pop on and say hello, I don't know if the technology's up to it, but it's not going to stop us trying, is it? So let me just pop that into the chat. And if you want to join us on screen, Penella River Lodge, and tell us about what you're doing there, just click that link and you'll be able to come through and say hi, as can anyone who has access to that now. So how are you doing? Where are you in the world? How's it going there in your part of the world today? Do let us know. And if you've got any questions about, emanating. Why are you shaking your hand? Ew. If you've got any questions about Salir de Porto, let's emanate outwards in concentric circles. Salir de Porto, São Martinho de Porto, Silver Coast, Central Portugal, all of Portugal, and the little bit I know about being in the Iberian Peninsula, ask away. So, Mrs. M, what are you going to do? You have a nice sort of chill out day today. It's been a busy week, isn't it?
Oh my goodness, hasn't it?
You launched a new program, didn't you, this week?
Yeah, I did.
And you're back on tomorrow with that?
Yes, I'm doing a kind of a mailbag show and also having a look at other people's charts. So people that have been in contact with me over the week, who've asked me to take a little peek at their charts. I'm going to do
the mailbag.
Yeah,
cool.
Share some of the messages we've got.
Yeah,
and also do a week ahead forecast.
Yeah,
so I'm looking forward to that.
Can you get? Oh, you got to go again, Mrs. M. This is no good, is it? You know, I was calling it a chilled out afternoon in Salir de Porto. That's not exactly going to how it's going to be. Got kids crying in the background now, so I think we're going to have to go put the back soon sign back on the screen and join you again soon. I think I'm going to leave the treehouse studio view available to you, and we'll be back. I think we should talk to Siobhan, who runs the place here. So see you in a little while. Any questions, pop them in the chat and I will come back and we'll answer them. So we'll put the music back on as well, a little bit of some vibes in the background as well. Right, we're back. And we're having such an easy-going, leisurely day here at the Quinta in Salir de Porto. There's a long shot over the beautiful Alcobaça Câmara countryside. Right, amazing. I've got Siobhan with me, who is, I called you the steward, or a steward of this project here. Is that a fair description?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you care to add to that? What's going on here from your point of view?
So what's going on today or about this?
Well, generally, let's set the scene, because we talked to you on Friday, didn't we, about what you do here, and I love what you do here. We've had a great time. I had to take the kids home because they've had a bit too much fun and they need to lie down now. Yeah. But there's something for everybody here, isn't there? Generally speaking, especially today and tomorrow, open day. But how did this all begin?
How did this all begin? It was a couple of us, myself and Patricia Rego, that had this idea. I already had this land for 13 years, and was to create a space where people could network together, meet each other, Portuguese, foreigners, everybody together, and as well do our part for the community and for the sea and beach cleans and environmental stuff. And also, very important was to run programs for youngsters, so for kids and teenagers, just to bring them back to nature, especially coming out of COVID. So we do a lot of programs, a lot of hiking, outdoor sports, as well as getting to know our animals, which are in the back. We have a little farm and a horse, my horse, and some goats, some chickens, some ducks. And really, it's just to build a really creative, calm, nice Zen place where people can come and hang out. So
mission accomplished.
You think so?
Yes, definitely.
You're a fan.
I am, no question. And today is the perfect illustration of that. I think you started off by saying a place for people to come and meet and hang out from all over the world. Yeah, it's happened today, isn't it?
Yeah, and lots of dogs too. Do you know?
And dogs,
dogs
all
too.
behaving nicely. Yeah. And you're like St. Francis. Every time you're around, the birds and the animals come. Is that right? Is that a good description?
Well,
like you were on the show on Friday, and there was a cockerel, every imaginable. The ark pulled into the bay.
Yeah, and it wasn't fake. And actually, it's funny because they're always talking about like the waters rising on the sea and stuff, and we often say, well, we'll just get a boat and pile everybody on.
Yes, this could work. A Quinta, al mar.
Yeah, exactly.
Omare.
So so that's what this is about. So this weekend, I think even if you know people, don't know people, just come out and meet us. We have food. We have our food trailer going with delicious food. Yes, we have every option, vegan, vegetarian, you name it.
Yeah.
And we have Viniatopia here, who is they're from Peniche. They do all the natural wines by Marcus. Marcus is extremely knowledgeable, speaks, I think, every language. So
when you say natural wines, Siobhan, you mean like organic, not too many sulfites? What's going on?
That's exactly what my description would be. Well done, Carl. Yeah, but for more details about that, you'd have to ask the sir himself, because if I say that, he'll tell me that I haven't listened to what he's explained. But what I do know, Carl, the most important part is we can drink a lot and we don't get a hangover.
Oh, because of the
because of the lack of sulfate.
Just grapes.
Yeah, so that's really important.
Oh, it is.
And then we have in the back, we have a little market which has a whole bunch of the people that are doing a whole bunch. It's quite a few sellers, so it's people that make their own crafts.
Yeah.
Also, we have a lady here from the village.
Is that your DJ?
No, that's Larissa, the DJ.
Okay, who's the lady from the village?
The lady from the village. She was here earlier. Chats a lot, and
yes, I saw her.
She's our plant specialist. She knows everything about Salir de Porto and around everything to do for nature.
Every neighborhood needs someone like that. What's her name?
Marie de Graça.
Marie de Graça.
Yeah, she's a chatter. So if you take her on the radio, you need a couple of hours, but she's lovely. And then we have Larissa, who is DJing funky music in the tent.
I like her vibes.
She's got good vibes. Yeah. And it's all real vinyls. So just a nice place. And I think it's an awesome place to network. We have a lot of people here that are entrepreneurs as well. They're setting up projects. We have our in-house Portuguese teacher, Patricia. Who else do we have? Loads of
great.
people
I did your conversational Portuguese class with Patricia. She's really good.
Did you improve?
Yeah, I think I did.
Good.
I felt more confident, and I really liked how easygoing she was about it. You know, sometimes in a teaching situation, it reminds you of school, doesn't it? And you can go to pieces. Yeah. And especially when you're learning a new language, it can become quite anxiety provoking. Yeah. She's very easygoing and great. With how she goes about it.
But that's her personality.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'd recommend it for anyone in the area.
That's part of the Quinta, so definitely, seriously, people. Oh, and tomorrow, the exciting news, Carl, we forgot to say it. Tomorrow we've invited the gentleman that we actually order all our fruit trees from and all our plants.
Oh yes, yeah.
So he's a local. He plants. He has his own plants. He also distributes. He sells at the 2 local markets, Caldas and Santana.
Great.
So he'll be heading here.
Oh,
with
he'll
his
be at
truck.
Caldas in the morning.
He'll be in Santana in the morning, and then he
Yeah.
comes here.
Right.
In the afternoon. He says 3:30. So if you come around 4, he'll probably be here, and he'll have his truck, and you'll actually be able to buy a whole bunch of your fruit trees or whatever. And he gives the greatest like advice and everything. So he's coming because he supports us a lot as well.
That's terrific.
He's Portuguese, but don't worry. I think his son speaks English. He also speaks a bit of French, and there's enough of us here that can translate.
It's always a way
everybody.
to get through that, isn't there? Definitely.
Yeah, with a smile, everything works here.
Yeah, for sure.
And what else do we have? We have people that have their own Airbnbs that are here.
In the Bay.
Jacqueline, who's the starter of an amazing artist as well. You know, Jacqueline.
Yes, I do.
She's here, and she also does that crazy swimming thing on the Tuesdays when they'll jump in the freezing cold water.
Yeah, she's going to ring me one morning from the beach.
Yeah, I normally don't answer when she rings too early because I'm a bit more of a wetsuit girl.
You've so far refused the invitation, have you?
Yeah, I'm always busy. We have kids club on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So that's what we're up to, and then we have information about our summer camps. It's really just a nice weekend to chill out, hang out, and enjoy.
And tune in. Yeah, here's the other thing, and this is how things work. Can you hear the bird song in the background?
Is that tape or is that the real?
No, that's real. But that's because I thought you were playing a BBC sound effects record on Friday when you were on, but it was like actually one animal after another. And now we've got bird song in the background, which I didn't notice before, but now you're here, they've come with you. Yeah. The other thing about being here is tuning into the kind of local community, grassroots Portuguese life.
Yeah.
And there's someone else here who has a knack for finding people property, which is a big deal at the moment, isn't there? And an amazing lady
she
here.
She doesn't know. I think if you're talking about the same person I'm thinking about.
Just in front of us.
Yeah, she doesn't actually realize that.
No.
But it is really amazing because we have a very good mixed network. So for everything, I mean, my father and my mother, they've just bought properties, and we try and mix everybody together, networking with our Portuguese side, the foreign sides, and just all getting kind of on the same level because sometimes there's some communication problems. So definitely it helps that we have a lot of people here that are, I would say, half Portuguese, half foreign, half whatever. So it just helps out, and
it's social,
really is a really good
place.
Yeah, and I can say that a lot of people that we know have met here at the Quinta, and go on and make their group of friends. It's not always easy, Carl, when you arrive from the States or whatever, and you're new and you have 3 teenagers or whatever.
No, I think you're a connector, networker. You're making life easier for people in ways that they never imagined they would maybe have a challenge.
Right.
And then you make it much easier when they come and meet new people, and
And we're not always open, obviously, because there are a lot of things going on that are private.
Yeah.
So, or like groups and stuff. So opening weekends like this is just to kind of get everybody a chance to have the time to chat together as well. So
okay, brilliant. Well, if you've got any questions for Siobhan of A Quinta, program of events throughout the year, classes for young people, well, a day,
summer camps,
summer camps, not classes really, but like an experience of being here and being on the beach and being in the hills. It's a taste of the old days in a way, isn't it? Like growing up, like.
You're calling me old-fashioned, Carl.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
in a good way,
a lot
right?
Of vintage.
In a good way.
We do like a lot of recycling. And also, we have the Tuesday. On Mondays, we have yoga teachers, physiotherapists, Tai Chi, conversation class. We make lunch. We just ask people to reserve before you come because obviously I'm actually the cook most of the time on Mondays. So, yeah.
It's great. Now, I got a sense as well that what you're doing here is the solution to a challenge as well. You're addressing global issues, are you not? In your own way.
Yeah, we're trying
what's that? What's going on with that?
I think it's my slight. I don't have kids myself. Pat does, and I just always think that we have to do our little part for this world.
Mm-hmm.
So just all our beach cleans and trying to turn beach garbage into art and working with other worldwide artists and people that have the same philosophy and passion is we're all just trying to do our little part for this world. So I think it's working. The word's getting out there. We've just been nominated for a huge award from Abu Dhabi, which is pretty impressive.
It is. What's that? How did that happen?
I don't know how it happened. I guess also it's networking probably, but somebody that discovered us and just think of what we're doing with the kids and the environment and the hard work, because it is a lot of hard work. All this project is all about passion, that's for sure.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a sustainability award, and basically what it would allow us to do is develop a little further, probably get rid of our diesel truck and get an electric truck.
Yes.
And just offer the programs to more kids and teenagers and adults as well.
And do you
do
you see that impact with the young people? Their
definitely
awareness growing?
I think in general, I'd say we've had, been working for about 2 years now and running summer camps and camps for homeschooling kids during the week and stuff, and I'm very close to a lot of the kids. I think they're close to us as well, and basically I realized that even if I get them off the screens for 5 minutes a day, it's already good. And a lot of them really participate. I mean, they've even a few weeks ago, they ran their own disco. So it's just to get them more confident, more aware of what's going on. And the big idea is just to help them be positive adults in the future. Because I think coming out of COVID, it's been tough for a lot of them, especially teenagers. Imagine, like at 18, they couldn't go out and get drunk or whatever. They had to wait till they're 20.
Yes.
It's awkward. So, so those are all the kinds of things. So, yeah, we're just on a little mission. I think we're doing well, and the local community, I think we're getting a lot of support.
Yeah, how's that? How is the response from the local people?
Well, Carl, if I'm honest, when we first opened and we talked about the project, most people thought we were some crazy gypsies moving into town. Most people didn't believe that we would manage to do what we do, but now, no. The president from the village, we have great support. The secretary from the village, they're behind us, and I guess it helps. We don't ask them for any money or anything.
Yeah.
We just try and sustain all this through our memberships and all the activities we do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's going down well, and also they see that we spend a lot of time because Salir has a lot of tourist spots. So in the summer, I go out in the morning, we clean around the chapel, we clean up the Mirador, and we just try and keep everything as clean as possible and as respectful as possible. So I think, it's going
on
that
down
note,
is it? Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, and I'm glad that the local,
I think so. Yeah.
The great and the good, if you like, of the local of the administration here are responding positively. On that note of tourism, can people come and stay? Do you offer a holiday experience?
Right. So actually, we have for teenagers 10 and up, I think it is this year. We do run summer camps. We tried to rent a fancy place for them, but they all boycotted and said they wanted to sleep again camping at the Quinta.
Excellent.
So we have this summer they'll have 2 hot showers and all natural toilets, but they love it. So for the kids, yes, they can stay, but for other people, we actually recommend our friends' places around, because a lot of our friends have places from a low budget kind of situation, very basic to a more luxurious. So part of the association, the deal is like we help networking and just make sure everybody finds a place to stay.
Oh, terrific. So to suit any kind of taste or needs.
That's right. And we work also closely with another company that's called, which is Miguel Castro.
He's amazing, isn't he?
Intertidal. So we do, actually, I've just been certified like him as a geo guide for the park in Lourinhã, which is the future, right? UNESCO.
Yeah.
So we do guides and stuff like that when people want to come out, and adults, most of them don't want to camp, and we don't offer a camping facility, but we recommend all our friends around us.
That's
and I
amazing.
think that's the best solution.
So a family could come and the parents could take it easy, wander about while the kids are at the summer camp.
Yeah.
That's quite a good arrangement.
And that actually, to be honest, you just let out one of our secrets, Carl. But as for next year, we are planning on doing a parallel kind of agenda. So kids that are in camp, we can also give an agenda to the parents that they're self-sufficient. And hopefully, if all goes well, by the summer, Intertidal and us, we will have rental bikes, brand new rental bikes and electric bikes, so people can go out. So that's all the little things that we're working on, and we really do believe in working that we're stronger together.
Yeah.
So each one our specialty, and I guess I'm a networker. We're the networkers between everybody.
Yeah. No, that's great. And Miguel, he runs Intertidal, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Which where you can go and kayak around the Orbidosh Lagoon, can't you?
Yeah, and he has big surprises for this summer. There's other things going on. He also has a little boat, but he's got some cool things for this summer. He's a great guy. And
you and him, there's something really wonderful about how you've taken the stepped up, however you would call it, to do something brave. And I think that unites the pair of you in your values and vision.
Yeah, and I don't think we see it as brave. I think we're both from the outdoor industry, so we've both always been very athletic and outdoorsy. We just happened to meet through friends at the right time.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're really brave. I think it's just we have an incredible natural park environment around us. And we just believe, both of us, as much as possible, that mixing that all together and educating people about nature and having fun outdoors. And I think everybody here has basically the same mentality, whether they have their Jeet or their outdoor tourism or your radio. It's all, we're all trying to share the same thing.
We are, aren't we? It's a kind of
same vibe.
A vibe. It's definitely. And we do, from using an artistic metaphor, you do have the most incredible palette here, don't you, on the Silver Coast, ranging from, Lourinhã and Peniche, all the way up to Nazaré. This is the most incredible landscape, isn't it? And perhaps a little bit undervalued or underutilized, would you say? There are things that could happen that aren't yet.
But it's,
part of its charm, maybe.
One of the Silver Coast, the problem with the Silver Coast is that people that really want to have the hot weather, sometimes here it's not the heat that people are expecting.
Okay.
I'd say we're like an average of like 26, 27s all summer.
Yeah.
And we're right on the coast, so it's kind of that wild nature. So people that like the wild outdoor kind of nature side of it, it's amazing.
Yes.
Right? Because we live with the hot. But if they want that kind of 30 degrees every day, no wind, this is not the place to be.
No, okay.
So I think for that reason, sometimes people get disappointed when they come here in August and we have the mist over us for like all morning. And actually we all like it because it means that we chill out a little bit. But it's not for everybody. But I do agree. And I think, I don't know if you agree, Carl, but things are changing very fast here. There's a lot of things going on, whether it be from the Portuguese that are setting up all kinds of artistic things, or
there's something in the air, isn't there?
There's something in the air, and we've seen a huge change in the last couple of years. And I think it's going to continue, and I think the government as well. They're trying to help out. Everyone's in a. It feels like we're in a movement of positive change. So
I hope so. And I wanted to ask you, we're going up in concentric rings from what you do here to the area, and to the country. How do you see Portugal's role in a changing world? Because we are in the middle of some incredible geopolitical global shifts, aren't we, at the moment? An uncertain future. And what we've known, it seems to be crumbling a little bit and coming apart. How do you see Portugal's role in a changing world at the moment?
Well, Portugal's interesting because it's a very small country, and people that live here a lot of people tell you they're backwards. So there are some things that are very slow. So when it comes to administrative stuff and stuff like that, sometimes it's slow. But then when you look at, I think, like the wind turbines, I think they were actually, if I'm not mistaken, one of the first countries to actually have nearly all the electrics off the wind turbines.
See one from here.
Yeah, we can see them from here. There's so many things that are so advanced. And I think that the younger generations is a country that loves their, as they call it, their terras, their soils, their lands.
Yeah.
So there's a certain culture that's very strong, and I think in many ways, I believe that they're really ahead of the game in many things. And also, it's a very, I don't know. I'm happy here. I like a lot of decisions that the government makes. I think they're always changing. No one's perfect, but they're always in the positive direction. And I really think when it comes to the environment and to the lands and the cultures, they're trying very hard to promote it and to preserve it. And I think that's essential. And I think the younger generation are amazing. The other thing is that they're very open-minded to the world. I've lived in other places, I won't name the countries, but where they stay kind of closed-minded in their own ways. And I think Portugal's not. So that's probably why I'm here. For me, it's a place where I've always said I feel the most at home. And it's only my great-grandparents that are Portuguese. It's nothing to do with anybody closer. I just feel at home, close to the old people, close to the young people.
Well, that's it.
And just relax. And it's safe. And for me, that's the biggest thing. Is the safest place I've ever lived.
Yeah, well, it's definitely. That's a really good point. And how amazing to have that sandwich of the oldies and the new.
Yeah.
The young people with a sort of progressive open-mindedness, and the old folks with an incredible tradition of family life and connection to the land. It's really good. I don't know if you would get those two together. You might get a very forward-thinking younger generation.
No, we like to mix the two.
There's definitely both, isn't there?
Yeah. And that's, I know that since I was younger, my mom lived for many years in Lisbon before I arrived, and what I always loved is like we go out to the best clubs in London and in Lisbon, and we could be like the youngest would be like 18. And I know my birthday like 5 years ago, the oldest guy was like 89. We all went out together.
Fantastic.
And he was the last guy standing. The rest of us were all like had to go home.
That's from a lifetime of training. If you're a Portuguese party animal, it's in your blood, isn't it?
So I think it's, you know, it's all these things, and I think there's a certain respect. Like people really respect the family here, really respect their grandparents here. There's a very strong family connection, and for me, that's what I like. Is that, as you can see today, like the kids come in, everyone comes in, and there's a certain respect that everyone has for each other, and I think that is the key thing in Portugal, and we're in a beautiful place. Of course, I don't want to say too much because maybe we're inviting too many people.
Yeah, you won't like it.
You know, you won't like it. It's terrible. It's very cold where we live.
So, and let's the last question then. Thinking maybe 5 years, 10 years, or even 50 years in the future. You know, how do you see the project and the country? What would you like to see? How would the vision look? How would it manifest?
Oh, Carl, you always give me the easiest questions.
Not.
No, I hope the future generations.
Quinta, what will happen to you, for example?
Well, what we hope will happen and what will happen are two different stories.
But if all goes according to plan.
If all goes according to plan, hopefully the younger generations and our families between us will take over, so that Patsy and I and Claire and the rest of us, the older generation, we can retire.
And be those 89-year-old party animals.
And probably probably, let's be honest, we'll probably be sitting on a little chalet somewhere on our balcony with shotguns, knowing us. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the road.
chair.
With our rocking chair with our horses running around. But no, that's kind of the goal. And the big thing is to see, so we call it a Quinta, but it's actually the Association Pelicano Radiante, to be really a joint network with other huge international projects or small projects, but that we can work together and see that our efforts make a difference, see the beaches slightly cleaner in the summer. And the biggest thing is to see happy adults that have gone through our programs. So whether they are artistic, creative, whatever, but just adults that have passions. And I think that's what it's all about for us, is teaching those kids. So hopefully in 50 years, somebody will come visit me. I don't want to be in an old people's home, but if I have to be, and somebody will just come down and say, Siobhan, thank you so much. You know, it changed my life. I love plants. I love planting my tomato plants, whatever.
Because life may be very different, of course, in a few decades' time. Do you see a big change from how we live at the moment, and that we will be more integrated with nature and work differently? I think
that's what we all hope.
Yeah.
But technology is also has its good and bads, right? So probably you and I won't be sitting on a next to treehouse. We'll probably sitting in a drone floating over the bay doing our interview. So I don't know. But you know what, Carl, I'll be honest with you, I kind of don't think that far anymore. I just think okay, do my part and let the next generations take over. And when I see the kids, they are so like they're way smarter, wiser, more open-minded, everything you name it. I find that they're way ahead. So
this is meant to be the last question, but actually that prompts another one, which is your faith, trust, and connection to the younger generation. It sounds like you think the future's in good hands from your daily work.
Not just from my daily work, Carl.
Well, sure, you work with young people in a way that I think a lot of people don't.
Maybe your kids
you experience.
I don't know. I mean, nobody's perfect. I don't think anyone's perfect, and we have to keep doing our best. But I just think that when people tell me they don't like kids, it kind of surprises me, because I think, where do you think we came from? Right? You know what I mean? I don't really get it, and I just think that, like, I love to learn from the old people. Some of my greatest friends, I go fishing with the old guys in the village. I think I'm crazy where they take. And I'm always talking to the older ones. I actually prefer spending more of my time with the old ones that don't have many teeth and I don't even understand. But I like their what they teach me and stuff. So I don't know.
All right, well, that's great. I mean, I was with I was talking to a guy called Stephen Jenkinson last Friday, a week ago yesterday, and he has a very interesting vision for the future. And I said, how's it going, your agenda and your hopes for the future? And he said, well, there's no payday with the work I'm doing. I won't see the results of my work. And I in a way that's a bit sad, isn't it? Because you don't get to enjoy the benefit, but it's a long-term vision. So you wouldn't necessarily.
But don't you think, Carl, like the generations before us, like if I think about my great-grandparents and stuff when I hear their stories,
yeah,
they probably dreamed of something like this for us.
Exactly.
Like this kind of life. And I
Yeah.
think that it's like when we plant trees, you know, we're planting trees, we're
Yes.
planting like walnut or hazelnut trees. You think we're never going to see a nut in our lifetime, probably, but you don't
That's
do
the
it for
wonderful
that.
Exactly. You're
And
not
I
doing
think
it,
it's
are
a
you?
non when you see yourself as part of a big team, part of the world. And of course there's negative things, we don't need to talk about it because we know it all the time, but I think if we're, you know, if we all give a little bit, whether it for me, I see kids as not, doesn't have to be my child or my nephew, it's
the children,
it's the future, it's the children.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just want to know when I lay my head to rest wherever it is that I feel like, okay,
You pointed it in the right direction.
I've tried my best. I don't even know if I've done the right thing, but I've
fantastic.
tried my best.
Well, I was talking to the other Carl earlier on about, you know, how desperate he was to get his land sorted out and make it all happen. It doesn't have to be in our own time, does it? It's about maybe laying the foundations for the future.
So. Yeah, for all I know, who knows? Somebody else will take over here or whatever. Like, really, and I think that's the essential. And I was lucky enough, you know, many people know, and they say, "Oh my God, how's that happen?" I was actually gifted this property from a lady who's still alive. She's 96 years old, and I think she had kind of an idea. And don't ask me why she chose me. And she believes in me. She's 96 years old, so I feel it's my responsibility to take that and transmit it to the next. Whether it be, it's true, I'm more of the sporty person. Others are more artsy, musical, like musicians or whatever. But it's just transmitting our knowledge and trying to have happy adults. The thing that makes me sad today, Carl, is to see so many kids like suffering from depression and all that kind of stuff. And I think sometimes, you know, if we just push them in the water for a good swim and they get a bit cold and then jump out and run up the hill, there's some easy methods sometimes. So that's why we do all this.
Yeah, it works for me. I did get a little bit anxious running up that hill. I'll leave it to the younger people. Do you go up and down the dune very often? This is the biggest one, is second or biggest in Europe, isn't it? The sand dune here. Do you run up and down that?
Well, in the summer I can be caught when I get really excited about capture the flag because I have a very competitive side. And when the kids, so when the kids, we have odd numbers, I always have to play. And so last year I did, I think I fractured a finger playing and stuff.
Did you?
So
yeah,
the dunes they're nice, but you know, I also try to explain to the kids that the dunes, running up the dunes is actually erosion, but they understand it better when they see the sand coming down.
Yeah.
So no, I do run about with them, and I think, you know, I mean, I get like a sciatic problem and another problem and all that, but I just think it keeps me young. And hey,
brilliant. It's been so great talking to you. Next time. I think people have been enthralled by what you have to say here. We haven't had many questions, but I think we've had a lot of good listening. Antonio F is here. Always great to see you, Antonio. Botard, Atoros, and we've had other people listening in today. If you're still listening, Panella River Lodge, obviously up there in Panella, Bob Wenger. We've also had Mauricio Mota. Olá, vocês estão numa bela região do Portugal. So he likes the Silver Coast. Uma boa continuação, I beg your pardon, de fim de semana. So wishing us an excellent ongoing weekend. Escrevam em português para treinarem os grandes ensinamentos da senhora professoral. Melhores cumprimentos. So best wishes from Orissa there. Really nice of you to check in with us as well. Owen's been in, Fiona and Simon, Glacio D in Minnesota. Thank you for tuning in today. Corvillar is a place that Mr. S wants to go to, and shared some great information with us about Corvillar, especially how to pronounce it. Mark was tuned in as well. Thanks all of you who've tuned into the live stream from Quinta today. Paul Richards in the Algarve, Barb Berry, and a couple of anonymous Facebook users. Thank you all for tuning in today. And I think the last comment, Siobhan, from Healthy Move Portugal, Matty, who was going to come over. He might come and see us tomorrow, actually.
Hope so. We're waiting for him.
Yeah, you know Matty, don't you?
I haven't met him. I'm still waiting to meet him.
Yeah, Matty, I'm still not sure if I can make it to Quinta tomorrow. Loads to study, plus I need to clean my garden before I leave. Well, if you can come over for a couple of hours, mate, you'll meet.
We'll motivate him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You'll go, but you'll maybe do it all tomorrow.
Maybe you could buy a couple of cheese and take it back on his motorbike.
There's that. I would love to see that picture of him with his panniers full of fruit trees on the way back to Pombal. Cheers, Matty. Thanks, Siobhan. We'll leave the pictures running of the beautiful long distance. We'll come out of our tree house.